Oh, welcome to Libertarians Drinking Coffee Live. So happy that you will give me a chunk of your afternoon. It's a little bit past 4 p.m. on the East Coast. And all the time, I hear people tell me things like, you libertarians, you don't ever run anybody locally. All you do is go every 4 years and run for president, and that's it. No, that's not true. We run for president every 4 years. That's true. But we also run locally. We run statewide elections. We run local elections. We run city council elections, all of them. And that's one reason why I do this. I bring those libertarians here so you can see that we are running candidates all over the country all the time. And one of them, who's a personal friend of mine, who has both walked the walk and talked the talk and is fighting all the way to the end, because she always does, is someone who is running right now for Senate, U.S. Senate, not even state Senate, U.S. Senate. She's not playing games. U.S. Senate in Florida, the one, the only, Feena Bonoan. How are you?
Hi, Larry. Thank you for having me. I'm good. Thank you for that introduction. And yes, we are running candidates up and down the ballot. And you know what? Folks say you got to start locally. You got to win races locally before you can play on the big stage. And guess what? We are winning races locally.
Yep.
This is the next step. This is not my
100%.
first race. This is my third, and I did start out local. And that's how wide open the Libertarian Party is. So if you're in the Republican or Democrat Party and you feel like you're not going anywhere, Libertarian Party, we're wide open, always looking for more great candidates, looking for leadership for the party. If you want to get involved, you know where to go, libertarian.org.
There we go. I love it. And if you want to see what she's doing, you can head over and follow her on Twitter if you want, at Feena Bonoan. If you're listening, that's FEENABONOAN. You can also donate if you want to support her, particularly if you're in Florida. Particularly if you're in Florida, right? Feena
Yes.
for US or FeenaForUs.com, and that's FOR, not the number 4. So I got to ask you, you have a very, in my view, a special situation, and that is your battle with the two major parties, Democrat, Republican. This is not an obvious win. In so many states, it's obvious. Democrats going to win. Republicans going to win, right? That's so many, but yours is not that. Tell us about your state and why this is not the case.
Well, Florida is a swing state. It is the home of Donald Trump, but it's traditionally been a swing state. The person I'm running against now for U.S. Senate, he is in office with less than a 11,000 vote difference between him and the former Democrat opposition that he was running against then.
Wow.
So close that they had to recount. And this is without a Libertarian in that race. And last time that particular person ran against a Libertarian, the Libertarian took 200,000 votes. And right now,
wow,
we keep up with the mail-in ballots, how many people have turned them in. And there's over 200,000 non-Republican, non-Democrat votes in. And the Republicans have 300,000, Democrats have 275,000, but then the independent voters, or the non-duopoly voters, if you will.
Yep.
That's almost enough to take over the Republican. That's if every single Republican voted straight ticket, which I know they're not going to.
Wow. That is a very special race. So it sounds like, the Libertarian vote, or the third party vote, however you want to classify that, is going to make real impact in this vote and could actually decide this actual election in this case.
Yeah, I've been saying it now when the polls started coming out, and really when Donald Trump came to our national convention and basically begged for the Libertarian endorsement to break our own rules and endorse him, that was going to happen. But when he came to us, it now dawned on a lot of folks, not just in the Libertarian Party, but outside the party, that our measly 1 to 2 to 3% of the vote is the most valuable 3% in America.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. So as you're going around, talking, I remember early on, you had to raise all that money to even get on the ballot. You were able to make that happen. you were able to, you were online for like 35 years straight or something like that,
40
however long it
hours.
was.
Yeah,
40
40
hours. There we
hours.
go. 40 hours straight. Yes, I remember that. So as you're going that, obviously people are talking to you. People are giving you their insight, their worries, their whatever. What issues are resonating now with Florida? Like, I think of Florida, I think of two things, right? I'm a New Yorker. So besides all my friends going there, besides that, I think of hurricane issues, like worried about national response to hurricanes, right? I think about that. And I also think about things like immigration, like people coming to Florida. Am I wrong? Do those things matter in Florida, or something else affecting Florida right now?
I think those absolutely matter. The economy, of course, is if you're not focusing on the economy and people's wallets, which that affects people personally, everyone
Sure.
personally, from the rich to the poor. They care about what's in their wallet. So that is always going to be a number one issue. And I feel like that's one of those issues for libertarians is a slam dunk because we offer a free market solution and lower taxes, which not only puts money back in your pocket, but also reduces the cost of the things that you want to buy.
So help me out now, because I know Florida has no state income tax, correct?
Correct. But they have high property taxes.
Ah,
And high
got it.
sales
Okay.
tax.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that will be a place where you would push in that regard.
And so that's one issue that's been really prevalent. The hurricane issue, I feel like it's always there. It's always there in the campaign for Florida is hurricane and insurance, especially when you consider Florida
Yes.
has the highest, not only home insurance, but also car insurance too. Car insurance. So the whole insurance bag, right? The whole medical insurance, home insurance, the whole insurance bag is always on the table. But something that is really an initiative that's come up this year, this election cycle, and I think it started out with a really steep hill and no one endorsing it but the Libertarians, and that is Initiative 3, which is the legalization of recreational marijuana here in Florida. And
Okay.
yeah, so that one has been big. It started out small, like all the politicians were like afraid to touch it. They were saying vote no on it. And now you can't go on TV or the radio, turn on the radio or TV and not hear a commercial of someone new endorsing it. And the Libertarians, we were the first ones to be like, you know what, we're endorsing this because we're always going to be on the side of individual freedom and not locking people up for doing peaceful things. So
let me grab two parts of this if I could. The first one I'll bring up is, let me first do insurance. I have heard this. I have seen videos, people telling me, I mean, but they're talking, and you tell me if they're wrong, they're talking doom and gloom, like the world's ending. Like the insurance is so bad in Florida. People are now leaving. They're going to have a population decline, like doom and gloom.
Mhm.
Is there really fear like that? Or is it just someone trying to make me feel scared?
I think that it's scare tactics. I really do.
Okay.
I really think that it's scare tactics because in one token, yeah, we're losing beach to the erosion and it floods in new places. It seems like every year, but every year Florida builds back better. It builds back stronger. It builds back smarter. Like the community that I live in, it's not it's a newer developing area. But when they planned out this community and they built the houses, they built, retention ponds to mitigate flooding, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
even from Hurricane Ian, now like builders, when you build a house, you put these braces on so that you don't lose your roof.
Got it. Okay.
So
So it
we're
isn't
building
as
back
bad,
better.
but it is an issue, but it isn't that bad.
Oh, sure, sure. I think the
Okay.
biggest issue, and there was a 60-minute special on it this weekend I watched. They were talking about home insurers getting out of the market for one thing of Florida because they've got to pay out, but them also not paying out what's due to the people. You have an insurance adjuster to come and look at the damages of your house, and then they submit it to the insurance company. And then the insurance company wasn't even they were knocking it down in some cases by over 90%.
Well, then why are you paying insurance?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
paying insurance so I could not get paid out. I can do it on my own.
Right.
Yes,
And you know
absolutely.
what? That's honestly, that's how I feel too. Like state mandated insurance to me is another tax. And I
You
have
think if they're
paid
not going to
so
pay
much
out,
money into insurance in the few accidents that I've gotten in for cars, for instance, right? I could have not only could I have paid myself better and taken care of, the accident better than what my insurance did. I could have been in a better car than what my insurance
mm,
would allow me to, because you have to account for, like, okay, this is a new car. I'm gonna have to allocate this much to,
right,
the loan, and then I need to make sure I have this much for the insurance. That's a lot of
right.
money. That's a
It
lot of
is.
money.
So I get where you're going with that. I now want to move to the weed part.
Okay.
Right. Now, my worry with weed is always the same, which is the same way it happened in New York. They don't just decriminalize. They make massive regulations so that the little guy gets crushed. And so the big companies make all the money off the weed. Then they say they're going to help black people, and they don't. They just give, like, well, here's my, and I'll use it when I don't care. Here are my 2 token black people that I will trout out and say that, look, we're helping black people. But then everything else goes to my big cronies who make big dollars, my big real estate, my big farms, all those things.
I get
Do you
it.
have that same worry in
Yes.
Florida or no?
Absolutely. That has been the big pushback for this
Mm,
initiative, has been there's no homegrown on it. That's a big
bingo.
thing,
Yep.
because that's your local farmer.
Yep.
And so what it is, Florida has its own way of doing things, and you can only put one issue, one thing on the ballot, one thing. So right now it's for recreational.
I
And
would take New
it's
York
a lot
has
of
0.
words. Huh?
So New York has 0, so I'll take the 1. But go ahead. Yes.
So, you the homegrown aspect of it is in regulation. Now, this to me,
Mm,
I'm gonna sound like a jerk, but I'm gonna say it anyways. This to me is a typical example of Democrats' model, right? You give them just little pieces at a time. And this is also why we need a libertarian in the US Senate and in the House, because we've been asking for the pie the whole time on legalization of marijuana for decades, and we have not
yep.
gotten it. We've been getting crumbs. We've been getting piecemeal, starting out with medical, starting out with, and only for certain cases. And now we're
Right.
just getting certain states and municipalities. And in the whole time where we started was, this should be legal. It should be, people shouldn't be going to jail for this.
Yep.
And so part of ending the drug war and ending any war is releasing the prisoners of war. And unless, we need to talk about that. We need to have a plan for that. We need to
Yep.
make sure that these folks that were put in prison for years for these crimes have a way that they can make it back into society, have that record
I am so
expunged.
glad you said that. Oh my God, Fina. So many people just go, let everybody out. And I'm like, you shouldn't just let everybody out. I mean, they should come out. But you should also somehow system. We took away X years of their life where they should have been either getting skills or getting educated
Can
or
you
learning
imagine that
something.
gap on the resume?
Something.
That's a
Yes.
huge resume gap.
We
Who's
got
gonna
to do something. Yes.
Yeah.
We got to do something, right? And then some of them, to be very, again, to be forward, some of them have become violent in prison because prison can make you very violent.
Yes.
So they weren't violent when they went in, but now they're violent because they've been in for who knows how many years. So now we got to deal with that issue also. That may require some help. We have a lot of issues. Thank you for bringing that up. So many people don't bring that up. That is amazing. By the
Well,
way,
I'm going to bring it up, Larry. I was a
I'm
prison
happy.
guard.
I know I'm not fighting you. I'm with you. Daniel says, by the way, sound like a jerk, Feena, please. So I think he's on your side. Daniel's on your side. Yes. So is Kim. Kim says, I've always thought insurance is one of the biggest scams ever invented. Wow.
Mhm.
There we go. And she goes on to say, weed is about big money, big people in big places, and who's for, and of course, taxes.
Mhm.
Always my issue. So let me ask you, Feena, when you talk about these issues, are most people, when it comes to weed, I'm staying on weed for a bit if I could. When you talk about, are people saying, yeah, that makes sense, or oh no, I don't care, or Are you educating them? Are they with you? Are they not? How is the back and forth in Florida?
I think that, okay, so there's, the ballot initiative 3 folks, the vote
Sure.
yes on 3 folks. And I think the pushback that I've experienced with, I'll go to one of their events and stand their booths, and I'll try to angle in if I can that I'm running for office too. You should vote for me as well.
Sure.
But
Sure.
some people, in those situations, people come up and they either don't know anything about what 3 is, right?
Oh, okay.
Or they're all for it and they want some cool gear, and I'm for that too. Or they hate us already and they've already bought into the propaganda.
Mm.
And some of the propaganda that's been coming out is just stupid. What you're saying makes sense. Like if you want to attack Proposition 3, you're doing the right way on the realities of it, where we've got people in prison. This isn't, we've got a lot to work on here. But they're coming out like saying, we don't want the streets to smell like marijuana. We don't like the smell of it. And
Wow.
I
So
don't like
keep
the
these
smell.
people in jail, keep locking them up because the smell is not good.
That's
the
just not
reason.
polite. That's just not polite commentary. Even like,
Mm.
like I don't like the smell of cigarettes. I used to smoke cigarettes, so now I don't like the smell of cigarettes. And when cigarettes became outlawed and whatnot in different areas and stuff, they never were like, I don't like the smell. They came up with like a health reason. And there's not a good health reason for the marijuana thing right now. They're trying to find one. They're just shooting in the dark. The reality is it's the same people. It's the same. It's not obviously not the same people from Prohibition, but same type mindset, same type people that were like, they're over there doing something and I don't want them to do it.
I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I don't like it. Absolutely. All right, let me grab a couple more of these if I could. Mark says Sagar and Jetty makes that complaint all the time. The smell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and not valid. Like I don't like the smell of cigarette smoke. I don't smoke. So you know what I don't do? I don't hang around big people who are smoking a lot. I don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't hang around
And I don't like the smell of like a lot of bodily fluids, but you don't say it in polite company.
Yes. Correct. Yes. Morgan has a hashtag prohibition doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of right. I think Morgan's kind of right in that one. Absolutely. You have a fan, by the way. Joe is on.
Yeah, Joe.
Joe's asking about Anthony, but he says something else, which I'll bring up in a second. Joe says, I'm voting for Feena here in Florida.
Thank you, Joe.
So you got a couple votes for sure. That's for sure. I love that.
I tell you, your vote matters. When you vote Libertarian, we know all 4 of you that voted for us. We know your name.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
We know you.
Yes. Now, speaking of that, Anthony brings up a point. He says, my Libertarian Senate candidate hasn't even gotten airtime anywhere for people to know he's running.
Who's your U.S. Senate candidate?
Literally what Joe was asking. Yes. And he didn't respond. So
because this is a good segue, Larry. This is a good segue. I do a campaign update every Tuesday live at 11 a.m. Eastern till 1 p.m. And in that campaign update, we feature candidates from across America that are libertarians, libertarian only, because there's so many media outlets that are Republican only, Democrat only. We need a libertarian only one. And my goal from that was to get every single U.S. Senate candidate on there. And I'm going to hit that goal by next week. And so if you haven't heard your U.S. Senate candidate and they're a libertarian, maybe they'll be on next week. And you're in Michigan.
There we go.
Yeah. It would be Wyoming.
There we go. Okay. So we got stuff going. So let me go, if I could, to one more. And that is, everyone obviously is talking about the presidential, campaign. Obviously, everyone's talking about that. Is it going to be whoever, Harris, or is it going to be Trump or whoever, right? I get it. Florida, everybody says Florida's going Trump, right? Everyone says it. You're in Florida. Is that true?
So I would say, all right, so I've been going to all these political hobnobs out in Florida.
Yep.
That's been a big thing here. Now, do I think that it was a good thing for my campaign necessarily after doing it? No, I don't, because it was nothing but candidates and campaign committees, right? But after Harris announced that she was running, the political hobnobs that I was going to, they do these straw polls, and that's why I was going. So I was hoping like maybe one time, at least one time, they vote for the person that's actually there and not people that aren't.
Right.
But it never happened. But I remember when Harris announced, and she won that straw poll. She won the straw poll, and that was in more of like a Democrat area, like around in the Orlando area. But she did, and she won a couple of them that I've been to now. And then after she won about, I think it was maybe 2, maybe 3 straw polls that I was at, they quit having the presidential straw poll. I noticed that the last one that I did. Yep.
Whoa. Okay. So all right. The thing that I see, the biggest state that everyone talks about, third parties make impact, is absolutely Michigan. Everyone's like, oh, Jill Stein is gonna take so much of the vote. She is gonna, make Michigan. She's gonna decide whether Harris was Michigan or not. It's because of Jill Stein. I hear that constantly. Is the third party strong enough or third parties strong enough in Florida to affect this election for the presidency, you think? Obviously in your race, yes, your race is clear. Third party is going to affect this tremendously. My question is, do you think it will affect the presidential election in Florida?
I think it could, but I also think that it would be more of a spread. I don't think it'd be, as far as the presidential election goes, I think that it would be a little bit more spread. I think that, if I'm not mistaken, I should check. I should have brought my sample ballot in here, but I could have swore I saw RFK still on the Florida ballot, and that was, for what it's worth, that's not everybody watches the news and knows that he's not even in it.
Correct. No, I'm with you. People are still going to vote for him. I think he might get 1 million votes. Absolutely. Yeah.
So between him, Jill Stein, that's a familiar name.
Yep.
And Chase Oliver. So we have, of course, our Libertarian group. That's all. Some of them love Chase Oliver, some of them don't. But there's a bigger group outside of our group that love Chase Oliver. And they're young people. Young people love Chase Oliver. Yes, they do.
There we go. Okay, so maybe there is going to be okay. Let me grab some more questions if I can. By the way, Liberty Lady says, hey, I'm voting for Feena. Well, there we go.
That's 2.
Rolling, yes. Kim says, Florida, look out. The Harris campaign's filing for disaster relief from FEMA after the Fox interview, more or less for hurricane victims. Oh, maybe. Maybe they're trying to make that happen. Maybe they're trying to push that to get those votes. Could be possible. Anthony responded, by the way. He says, my candidate's name is Phil Anderson. Work for you now. See, you got to work now.
Okay. Let me write that down.
The Liberty Lady says, I do not see RFK on the Florida sample ballot. So he may not be on. So that means more for Chase, more for Jill Stein, more for whomever. Right. Got it. Okay.
What was that name again? Could you put that on screen again?
Yep, absolutely. Phil Anderson.
That name sounds familiar.
So now you got homework. You didn't think you was going to get homework when you came in, Feena. Now you got homework now. That was it. Yes.
Right.
There we go. So Matt asked a question. He says, Larry and Feena, have either of you heard of Stephen, I guess it's Valley, Libertarian Party? He is running for governor in New Hampshire.
No. I'll be, you know what? Continue being a jerk. So they already gave me permission. Let me have some coffee. We talking about New Hampshire.
There we go. Joe says, I was promoting Phil on social media. So somebody is. Someone's paying attention. There we go. Joe's already got him. See, Joe can help you out. There we go. Yes.
So New Hampshire, I don't really, I quit following New Hampshire, and somehow New Hampshire still came back and tried to follow me. So then I just straight up blocked New Hampshire. So I don't know what's going on there. It's like except for the few people that I still talk to that's up there, it's a nice blackout zone for me right now. And I need to do that because I have to focus on what's here in Florida.
No, I get it. You do what you must. Absolutely. So let me keep one more. It looks like Mark says he knows this guy, Stephen. He says he did a podcast with him and he was at Freedom Fest. Well, there we go. So we are already going back and forth. It's already happening already. See that? Already happening. I love it. So is there anything about your update you want to bring up specifically about your campaign?
He's talking about my update or the show?
Mhm. Your actual campaign. Any updates you want to give personally before you wrap this up?
Sure. Yeah,
Go ahead,
I'll be in
please.
Dallas, Dallas, Texas, for the Chase Oliver campaign watch party, because I figured that's, my opponents are going to be with their presidential candidate wherever they are election night,
Mhm.
and that's kind of where I feel like our top of the tickets need to be. They need to be together, and this is going to be the first time I've got to be on an election watch party, because I know Larry knows this, but maybe some of your viewers don't know, but I lived in Hawaii for 10 years.
Yep.
And that's where I ran for state Senate and US Senate the first time. And that was all during COVID. So I couldn't have an election watch party. I was
Right.
so bummed. I was just sitting at home
Right.
eating milk and cookies by myself. Mm.
Some days that's not a bad thing, though. But yes, I get it completely. Guys, I want to go one step further if I could. If you like what Feena's talking about, if you see the value she's bringing, then do me a favor. At a minimum, follow her on Twitter. Follow her on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at Feena Bonoan. That's FeenaBonoan. And particularly if you live in Florida, if you can donate, it is going to help her tremendously. She's already raised a bunch of money. I know. I'll watch her do it. She needs the cash. It's a statewide election. She needs Facebook ads. She needs door hangers. She needs all the things that you can possibly get. So head over to FeenaForUs.com to donate. If you're saying, Larry, I don't have that much cash, no worries. She still needs social media warriors, right? So even if you don't have the cash, you can still help her out by liking, by sharing, by posting stuff on her stuff, by sharing her stuff, all those things, commenting on her stuff so it gets more pull. She needs social media warriors and she needs volunteers. So if you want to volunteer, head on over to that website, go volunteer. If you've got some cash, you might go, Larry, I only got $25. $25 buys a sign.
Yeah.
So do $25.
So we have raised $25,000. We've raised and spent it, right?
There
We
we
have
go.
raised and spent it. About half of that went to the campaign financing, because literally came to the state of Florida to get on the ballot, which sucked. And that's why we had to do the 40 hours for freedom. But the rest of it, Florida is a big state, is a huge state.
Yep.
And so that's gas getting me to Pensacola. That's gas getting me to Miami. That's gas getting me to Tampa. It's gas getting me back home. That's a hotel because I'm 6 hours away and I can't do anything. And that's a lot of driving to drive there, drive back, and actually do something in the town too. So it has gone. It's definitely stretched. And I do have door hangers that we got printed. We did small batch because the reality is it's impossible. There's no way I can go to every single door.
Right.
But what I've done is I've helped other candidates in Florida. And that was my goal. Help other candidates when they're going door knocking. I'll go door. I would like to go with you. Can I hand you some of mine too? Like if you run out, use mine.
Here we go.
Use yours first. But when you run out, here's some more. We did a lot of printed materials. I'm thinking we're going to do another 40 hours for freedom probably after the campaign, because I did loan the campaign kind of like some starter money, because that's how we got the door knockers. That's how we got to these political hobnobs. They were all pay to play things.
Yes, 100%. I see it all the time. That Liberty Lady says, I've never been so much on YouTube before Feena's 40-hour live stream. Well, you may do it again, Liberty Lady, right afterwards. You might be able to. Yes. Joe says, should I share Feena on all social media? Yes, you should, Joe. That is a wonderful question. And the answer is yes. You absolutely should do that. 100%. Joe goes on to say, nothing wrong with eating milk and cookies at home. I agree. Like, this is not necessarily, depends on what you're doing. So, yes. Kim seems to think that Phil is a good-looking guy. So, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Lee is a better... Okay, maybe Lee's better looking. Okay, so Lee's better looking than Phil. I'm sorry. So Lee is, this is just Kim's opinion. Lee is better looking than Phil. There we go. All righty. Morgan says, can you explain 40 hours to freedom? Go ahead, Feena. Can you explain that, please?
So 40 hours for freedom. 40 hours for freedom.
Oh, okay. For freedom.
Yeah, it was a telethon, a Libertarian telethon, to raise the funds to get on the Florida ballot, because it cost $10,000 to be on the Florida ballot here in Florida. Florida ballot here in Florida. Sorry about that. More coffee. And it was 40 hours of live streaming, which we learned a lot. So after the first 12 hours, AI doesn't watch, no monitors watch. is kind of cool. Like there's an open space. So we watched some I think we played 2 podcasts. We had a lot of artists on. We had interviews from all the presidential candidates that were running for Libertarian Party. Well, not all of them, as many as I could get on there. We watched some movies, and of course we were raising funds. We had an auction. There's a bingo game, and we just had a lot of fun.
I love that. There we go. I love the idea completely. It's great. All right. Look, I want to tell everybody, please follow her, Feena Bonoan, if you could. Feena, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate the time that you gave me. I know you got to go off and do your cool stuff. Please go ahead and do that. Everyone else, thank you so much for watching. I'll be on tonight at 7 p.m. For those of you who want to watch, I will be on again tonight at 7 p.m. and tomorrow. Tonight, I'm talking about Harris's interview on Fox. Maybe you'll enjoy that. Maybe you won't. Anyway,
I'll watch it.
There we go. You'll watch too.
I'll tune
Good.
in. Yeah.
I will see you all